Hello there, welcome to episode number 4 of Parenting Hacks with Dr. Yanina. And today's episode is Sibling Arguments is a Good Thing, Part 2. And if you have not had the chance to take a look at Part 1, I really encourage you to go back and check out Part 1 before you check out Part 2 so it makes sense for you. And before I dive into 2 tips that I have for you when it comes to sibling arguments, I just want to say thank you. I just want to say thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for taking the time out of your totally busy schedule to watch this video. You're a mom of preteens and or teens. I know how that is. I have 2 teens in my home. It's busy, it's crazy, sometimes you don't even have time to breathe and relax, but you're taking the time to watch this video and I truly, truly appreciate it. Thank you so much. And I hope that this video is going to help you know how to teach your child to have productive arguments. I really appreciate it. So as I said in my last episode, I shared with you 2 tips to help you coach your tween or teen during arguments so they can have productive arguments, right? That's the bottom line. We want them to learn how to have productive arguments. I talk about how sibling arguments is a good thing after all, and it is a good thing when they are guided through the process. That's the bottom line. They need to be guided because they're not born with the ability to have productive arguments, and that's why they have us moms to guide them through that process. So the truth is that our kids, they need to learn to have productive arguments. The bottom line is this, that having been able to have productive arguments is a very important and essential interpersonal skill. Our kids need to have that interpersonal skill. It's super, super important. So by helping them to get their point across correctly, we are instilling in them awesome things such as change, progress, innovation, creativity, growth, and actually we're going to help them develop their own voice. And I'm sure as a mom, you want to help them develop their own voice and you want them to be respectful. You want them to know how to get their point across in a way that they will be listened to, they will be paid attention to, right? I'm sure you're saying, yeah, that's me. So let's go over 2 tips on how to coach them during those sibling arguments because they can get heated. I know, like I said, I have 2 teens at home. Things can get heated. They can, start arguing and they start fighting. They start putting each other down. They start saying things that are not nice. They hurt each other. And you want to avoid that. You want to not let that happen. And that's why you have to be more proactive. And this is why I'm sharing these tips with you. So today's tip number 1 is this. If either child is too upset to work things out at the moment, I really want you to intervene and separate them. Just stop it and separate them. That is very, very important because what happens is that when they lose control, they will not listen to you. They will not listen to anybody. And sadly, they're not going to be admitting their faults. They're just going to be like, I'm done. They're just going to shut down. So that's why it's important that if you're seeing that things are escalating, you might want to intervene and separate them. Speak with them separately. Take them to separate rooms. Take one to the dining room and another one to their bedroom, whatever it is. Just take them to separate rooms. And what I want you to do is to let them share their side of their story with you. Just listen to their side of the story. Just ask them, so now, what is your side of the story? What happened? Tell me what happened. However, I do encourage you to do your best to replace this tip with the last episode's tip number 2. I would rather have you do tip number 2 from my last episode, but if that one is not working out at the moment, then you're welcome to do this one. And because we do need to help our tweens and teens maintain control or regain self-control. We need them to learn how to do that on their own, and especially during heated conversations. So, which is basically, in a nutshell, tip number 2 from my last episode is, if either or both of the kids are upset and are building up their anger, pause the argument just for a moment, bring up the boundary that they are crossing, and help them regain self-control right there. You want to do that right there with both of them together. And if this doesn't work out, if still, things are out of control while they're together, then just take them to separate rooms and then ask for their side of the story separately. And once they're calmed, then resume that intervention and begin by reminding them about the rules. Since you now have both sides of the story, now you know what Johnny said and what Mary said, I want you to bring both sides of the story to the table and give each child, each of them, an opportunity to speak without interruptions. Don't interrupt her, don't let them interrupt each other, and don't allow those talking overs. So don't allow that to happen. So I'm sorry about my dog. Maybe someone is walking and she has to let me know that someone is walking outside. So my apologies for her barking. So let me go to tip number 2. Tip number 2 is to coach them as they are arguing. Be there, be present. Coach them as they're arguing. Remind them that as long as they stick to the rules, you're willing to listen. You are like open ears as long as they're sticking to the rules. If one of them is raising her voice or his voice, calmly remind them to keep their voice down. And if she's putting her sister down or he's putting his brother down, stop the conversation right there and remind them that put downs are not acceptable. Put downs are not acceptable. So just stop it right there, and put downs are not acceptable. And you can remind them, hey, like, I'm willing to listen. I really want to work this out. I really want to come up with a solution. But putting downs, you know that that's not acceptable. You need to stop that, or we will not be able to continue with this. So, just maintain, the whole thing is about maintaining control in a calm way. Because after all, you're a mom and you're the adult, and you want to always, show them the behavior that you want them to imitate from you. So there you have it. Once again, let me recap. Tip number 1 is that if either child is too upset to work things out at the moment, intervene right there by separating them to different rooms. But do this after you try my tip from last week, which is, you try to help them to regain self-control right there, one with each other when they're together. And if that doesn't happen, then I suggest that you separate them, and once things calm down, then you put them together and continue with the intervention. The second one is to coach them as they are arguing. Don't allow put downs, don't allow insults, because that should be a non-acceptable way of thinking. But let them give you their story, let them explain what happened, no interruptions, don't talk over them, don't let each other talk over each other, and just keep control. Keep control in a calm way. So I hope you like my 2 tips. And as I said before, sibling arguments is important. They need to learn to get their point across in a healthy way, and that's why you're there, to coach them and monitor them as they are learning to do that. So I invite you to request your copy of my guide, Tips to Help Your Tween or Teen Have Productive Arguments. In that guide, I share more tips on that will help you coach your children during these arguments. And I also share important boundaries that you want to teach your children so that they can engage in productive arguments. So yeah, check it out. It's free. Just request your copy by going to my website at www.DrYaninagomez.com, and request your /sibling arguments. Let me say that again. www.DrYaninagomez.com /sibling arguments, and request your copy. And another thing that I talk about in that guide is that why telling your kids, if you have nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all. It is super detrimental. If you do that, please stop saying that. And I tell you why I feel that way and why I believe that is detrimental in this guide. So again, go to www.DrYaninagomez.com /sibling arguments to request your own copy. And I hope you enjoyed today's episodes, and I hope to see you in episode number 5 of Parenting Hacks with Dr. Yanina. Have a wonderful day. Bye.